There is one sin which I have come to fear above all others. Certainty.
I've come to make an announcement. Tedesco the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking conclave.
No!
That's right. He took his hedgehog fucking Willy dick out and he pissed on my fucking conclave. And he said his dick was this big. And I said, that's disgusting. So I'm making a call-out post on my ChristianDating.com. Tedesco the Hedgehog, you got a small dick. It's the size of a walnut, except way smaller. And guess what? Here's what my dong looks like. That's right, baby. All points, no quills, no pillows. Look at that. It looks like two balls and a Christ. He fucked my conclave. So guess what? I'm gonna fuck the earth. That's right. This is what you get. My super laser piss. Except I'm not gonna piss on the earth. I'm gonna go higher. I'm pissing on the Vatican. How do you like that, Lawrence? I pissed on the Vatican, you idiot. We have 23 hours before the piss droplets hit the fucking country of Italy. Now get out of my fucking sight before I piss on you too. Did not write that down in advance at all. Obviously I had the original copy pasta, but I had to improvise all the Catholicism.
Fuck
He pissed on my fucking Vatican. Hi, welcome to Bomb Squad Matinee. We're talking about the movie Conclave. I'm Tanner Richard Kraft.
If we liberals don't stand together, then Tedesco wins. Hi, I'm Stephen Inskeep, and you're listening to NPR.
Today we're talking about Conclave.
Woo!
A movie that I'm still predicting to win Best Picture at the Oscars. So after the Golden Globes a couple nights ago, who knows how this will go. It's a generally agreeable movie. It's gonna win the same way Spotlight wins, if it wins.
It does have all the Oscar bait qualities. You know?
And it's also a good movie. That's why we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into our thoughts on Conclave, this movie, while it is a movie about religion, is actually secretly a movie about the 2016 election, like every other movie from the last 10 years. So, in that vein, we're going to talk about our favorite movies about an election. Austin, what's your favorite movie about an election?
Hold up, how funny would it be if they played the All Quiet theme every time Conclave wins an Oscar?
They just again, they don't play the Conclave theme, they just
For people who don't remember, so that was the year Everything Everywhere All at Once was supposed to win Best Picture, right?
And it did.
And everyone thought it was just gonna sweep all night, and it mostly was. And then at a certain point, All Quiet starts winning Oscar after Oscar, and this ominous fucking theme plays every time they get the Oscar. So it felt like they were stealing Oscars by producing this really well-made war movie. It was like it had a villainous kind of connotation. But your question, best movie about an election. For my money, it's got to be The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis.
Good
One
movie.
thing I never got tired of my freshman year at college was seeing that clip where Will Ferrell fucking decks a baby in the face. No, that was the most iconic moment in film that year. And everybody else said it was the Avengers standing together in a fucking circle, but they are dead wrong. But for my money, my real answer is Wag the Dog. It's a modestly successful film from 1997 that earned Dustin Hoffman a Best Actor nod, and it lost Best Adapted Screenplay to that one movie where Jack Nicholson fucks two upstarts from South Boston out of a trophy.
As good
deserved.
as it gets?
Yeah, where he fucks those two guys out of a trophy they deserve.
That's based off of something? It's incredible.
I didn't think about that before I made my notes. So Wag the Dog. This movie is like impossibly clever. It has this screenplay that was originally done by Hilary Hankin with these really hefty rewrites by none other than David Mamet. Right. Yeah. Wag the fucking Dog. It tells the story of this public relations spin doctor played by Robert De Niro who is asked to help cover up like the sitting president's sex scandal because re-election is right around the corner. He teams up with this Hollywood producer played by Dustin Hoffman to fabricate a hoax and hopefully keeps the public's attention off of President Pervert over here. they conjure up a totally fake war with Albania, with its own, like, POW hero who needs to be rescued. It's a sharp movie that clocks in at a really tight 97 minutes. But what's fucking crazy about Wag the Dog is that it came out 1 month before the news broke about Bill Clinton sleeping with Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Clinton's administration also tried to distract from that scandal by announcing they were bombing Afghanistan, Sudan, Iraq, and Kosovo. The media at the time thought that these similarities were fucking hysterical. Also, there's a bit at the end of Wag the Dog where, like, the fake staged war that's hypothetically in Albania makes a actual, like, terrorist faction appear in Albania. And we'd go on to see this happen IRL when the US, we tried to scapegoat this small-time dickhead named Abu al-Zarqawi to justify invading Afghanistan after 9/11. And then, the fame from us doing that turned him into an actual big dog. Like an actual guy with a following. We fucked ourselves. But yeah. Probably my answer is Wag the Dog. Beyond being one of those cool examples where, like, reality imitates art, it's also just kind of a delightful watch. Back to you, Tanner.
Good answer. I haven't seen Wag the Dog, but I ought to check it out. That sounds really interesting. Is it cheating if I say election?
The Alexander Payne film?
From 95 with Matthew Broderick?
Oh, no, not at all. That movie's about an election. They keep saying how everything's about the election that happened in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like that movie, but that's not my answer. When I posed this question, I kind of really wanted to shout out a movie that I think is kind of funny, that I don't think many people do think is funny, which is a 2003 movie starring, written by, and I believe directed by Chris Rock, called Head of State, where basically the Democrats' candidate for president McFucking dies, and they go, all right, run a black guy so we can get credit for running a black guy, but he won't win, so one of our guys can run next time. Mm-hmm. It's a very funny movie. I think it's very funny. But I opted not to go with it. I opted to go with a more serious movie about the election. And I was stuck between two answers. One, the unofficial, but everyone knows it is, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton movie, Primary Colors, directed by Mike Nichols. I'm sure you've seen that, Austin.
I have.
John Travolta basically plays Bill Clinton. He's not Bill Clinton, but he is Bill Clinton.
Hot. Very hot.
And then the other answer, which is the one I'm probably going with, is a movie from 2011 called The Ides of March. I think I've talked about this movie before. It was a movie that intrigued me when I was like 12 and I saw trailers for it. That poster of Ryan Gosling holding up the George Clooney Time magazine cover to his face is like all-time great poster. It kind of sells the movie. Mm-hmm. And it deals with a topic that I'm most fascinated about in politics, which are the staffers, and what the fuck they're getting up to, and how the staffers kind of low-key really do run the show in parts, especially considering the current outgoing presidential administration and the things that are already coming out about how much the president wasn't actually running the show. Is watch The Ides of March and get ready for a very fun 4 years. Austin, are you ready to talk about Conclave, a movie that's good?
I'm so ready to talk about Conclave.
I don't want to talk about the 2016. Every election is the 2016 election. The 2016 Democratic primary is going on forever. Lawrence is Hillary. We're relitigating the primary for the next, like, it's going to be 2047. Bernie, Hillary, Obama are all going to be dead. And we're still going to be litigating the 2016 primary. But Austin, what did you think about Conclave?
Sede vacante. The throne of the Holy See is vacant.
Okay, so I want to start off with a point. The Catholic Church is a secretive place, right? So, to demonstrate this, Tanner, there was a conspiracy back in the late 1600s where Pope Innocent XI paid this Protestant hero named William of Orange to overthrow the Catholic King James because he secretly wanted to fuck over King Louis of France. Why am I telling you this? The kicker here is the public didn't discover any of this happened until 2001. The Vatican kept that secret for 350 years. For reference, that is 100 years longer than America has been a country.
Jesus.
And Conclave, today's film, is this insider look into a fictional election where 108 cardinals duke it out in private, trying to decide who will be the next Bishop of Rome. And you're a goddamn liar if you're sitting there watching this video saying you did not call this Star Wars Episode 4 a new pope. I fucking know you did that.
We all did that.
Conclave lets audiences wander into this famously secretive space where the decisions of the individuals present have this massive impact on the outside world, or at least a big chunk of the outside world, not me. And we have very recent data suggesting people love that shit, considering Oppenheimer made almost $1 billion and took home Best Picture at the Oscars. People love movies about how the sausage of history gets made behind the locked doors. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Conclave. Usually when I see that a drama film is rated PG, I write it off as something that, for religious moviegoers, grandparents, and I did when I saw the trailer. I did not actually go out to see this in theaters. But, another movie in 2024, Strange Darling, the word of mouth this got was I was like a fucking moth to the flame. I felt myself magnetically pulled to my TV the day this came out on VOD. Conclave, speaking on its PG rating, Conclave is more Life of Pi, or The Truman Show, than it is Chronicles of Narnia. One quality that made Conclave so compelling is Peter Straughn's screenplay. On the press tour, Ray Fiennes compared his character in this to the famed fictional intelligence officer George Smiley. And I think he made that association because Peter Straughn wrote the screenplay for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which is probably the most high-profile adaptation of John le Carre's spy novels. Having a screenwriter who penned one of the most complex Cold War thrillers ever put to screen, to write this movie about warring factions in a papal conclave was a creative match made in heaven. It's good chemistry. Edward Berger says on the commentary track for this that he made Conclave as an antithesis to his previous Oscar darling, All Quiet on the Western Front. For All Quiet, he kept everybody in the freezing trenches for months, and there were weeks that went by where they did not record a single line of dialogue. So for Conclave, he felt that he owed everybody a vacation to Rome, and that the movie should have more talking, and less physical brutality. And dare I say it, I found myself more enthralled with the dialogue in this picture than I was with all the explosions and shit that happened in All Quiet. I actually like this movie more. Apparently, a big inspiration for this was the Alan J. Pecula conspiracy thrillers from the 70s, stuff like Parallax View, Clute, All the President's Men, those movies. My favorite example of a film that's carried by dialogue, my personal favorite, is the Danny Boyle Steve Jobs movie. This movie certainly achieved the lofty task of keeping you locked in with just the dialogue and the performances. Admittedly, Conclave does take on a sort of wish fulfillment quality, watching it now, post-US election. Watching the liberals duke it out with the conservatives only for everybody to elect this surprise person who secretly undermines the church's ancient patriarchal policies. It's definitely a feel-good movie for the part of your brain that likes listening to NPR. Seeing a post-Spotlight film with a fictional Catholic leadership who would really rather root out scandals instead of enabling them and burying them for years is certainly comfort food for the mind. And the timing just feels right, considering we appear to be partway through the tenure of a pretty progressive pope, as far as I can tell. To wind down, Conclave is a movie that packs all the punch of a film like Gone Girl, but without any of the explicit shock value. It is gripping from start to finish, and it's crafted to delight viewers who probably aren't fans of the Catholic Church or even mass religion in general. It's an earnest look at what happens when tradition and modernity clash behind closed doors. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Back to you, Tanner. It's time for your thoughts.
All right. So, it's funny you bring up All Quiet on the Western Front, because when I first got out of Conclave, I went, I love this, but I liked All Quiet more. But the more that time has passed, especially today, you know, I think I'm ready to say it. I like Conclave more. Conclave is so fucking good. Holy shit. I guess to start off, I was fascinated by this movie before I realized it was going to be an allegory for the upcoming election. Mostly because I find the aesthetics of the Catholic Church deeply fascinating. Oh, yeah. I think in terms of like aesthetics, I think nobody has Catholicism beat in terms of organized religion. Like, especially if you compare it to the fucking evangelicals, which when I picture evangelicals, I'm sorry, I picture a shitty pickup truck.
Or that video of the mega church that gets passed around Twitter a lot, where it's like a sleigh that takes off in the air while fucking laser lights go around.
One. I saw that one and I just thought that cost tens of thousands of dollars. What are we doing here? Are they passing around the collection bin and just dropping in $50,000 checks? Like, fuck off with this bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm. Another 50,000 to our production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Rainbow.
Exactly. So, I love this movie, and most of it has to do with, one, it's an incredible script, like you bring up. I think Berger does a good job directing it. Berger. Funny to say Berger.
I think you freak out on his first name. I think you call him Edward, but the last name is Berger like normal, I think.
Edward Berger. Okay, that's interesting. Very German. The acting all around is fantastic. Ralph Fiennes, if it wasn't for the fact that Adrian Brody is apparently doing unspeakable things in The Brutalist, I wouldn't know. I haven't gotten to fucking see it yet.
Nobody has.
Yeah, except those fuckwads in New York. And when I was in New York last week, Austin, there was a small part of me that went, I should go see The Brutalist. I should go waste 3.5 hours of my precious vacation time to watch a movie. Thankfully, my better senses came to me, but I considered it.
Understandable.
But Ralph Fiennes, I remember people saying this could finally be the movie he wins an acting Oscar for, and how well deserved would that be? But it's not just him, of course. He's brilliant. Tucci's brilliant. Lithgow's brilliant. Lithgow looks funny. This is the closest he has gone to capturing his Farquaad energy in 20 years.
I see that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The actor who plays, oh my God, the architect.
Cardinal Benitez.
Yeah, Cardinal Benitez.
Because he just started acting.
This is his first feature film role, and woo! Knocked that out of the park with this bad boy, which is good, because as the ending shows, which I think we'll get into that ending in general discussion, it's a tightrope. You have to walk in that ending, and I think they nailed it. The guy that plays Detesco, who for the longest time, I just thought was Antonio Banderas until I finally saw the movie and I discovered it was not, in fact, Antonio Banderas. Oops. But he's great. I love his vaping thing. Apparently the script called for him to smoke normally, but the actor vapes. And I think that was for the best, because I think part of this movie's charm is the fact that it's a bunch of petty teenage girls bickering in reality. And the vaping adds to that aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brilliant screenplay. It's brilliantly well acted. It's really entertaining. Like it's really well paced. It flies by. Mm-hmm. And the ending reminds me that a more optimistic future is technically possible, even though unfortunately, and I guess it's funny that the director of this movie is Edward Berger, because the fascists won in America because Berger cost too much. So, but it's nice to imagine a future where Berger costing too much didn't matter, because the ending of this movie is quite optimistic. And one of the most positive depictions of gender queerness I've seen in a movie, mostly because it's very neutral.
I think if you like there are certain IMDb lists that are automatically generated, and one of them is just for like movies with intersex as like a tagged thing in the movie. And if you go find the intersex list on IMDb, top movie Conclave, just way up there.
This is probably the most mainstream representation of intersex people I've seen in a positive matter. Which we'll get into that more in general discussion. I think this is a movie that's begging for some general discussion. So we'll get into that after a brief commercial break. Hi, welcome back from that commercial break for another commercial. See that shit? Moviepalette.com. Go order your own. You can get one for Conclave. You can get one for Everything Everywhere at Once. You can get one for the 1994 movie Bulworth. But before you check out, enter code SQUAD15 to save 50% on your order. Now back to the show. The Bulworth mention really got you, huh, Austin?
What the fuck? This is like when somebody brought up Dougal for the first time in my adult life. Like...
Nobody expects Bulworth. Anyway, let's get into the real thing about this movie, which is they trans the Pope!
Yeah, the Pope does not just have male organs, they also have bonus female organs now.
From my interpretation of the movie, it's that he has a penis, but he also has a uterus.
One thing.
But I also got the potential. I also read that it could be that he has a vagina. It was kind of not clear.
Yeah. God, I should have looked up the specific type of hysterectomy that they talk about in the movie. I think they also clarify it was just to remove the uterus. So I think our boy hangs dong. I think our person hangs dong.
Which is, it's fine. Well, I think he clearly identifies as a man. He, him is accurate.
Ooh, thank you. I was worried. I want to be respectful to Benitez.
No, I think it's clear that the character identifies as a man. I think with how devout, how much he is devoted to Catholicism, I don't think if there was even a chance that he was actually a woman, he would even let himself be a cardinal.
Yeah,
from that character's perspective.
He does seem to have enough respect for some of the regressive Catholic stuff that he's like walking right up on the line where it's like, you know what, I can still be a cardinal. I mean, he even like talked to the Pope and was ready to resign about it. There's a lot of Catholic in this guy, even though he's like a complicated type of person that really would fuck with your average Catholic.
It seemed to me more of a sin to change his handiwork than to leave my body as it was.
So you are still,
I am what God made me.
Also, quick shout out, what's his name? I think it's Carlos Diaz. Hold on, let me look up this actor's
Yeah,
name.
Carlos Diaz is correct. I have his page pulled up.
We gotta briefly mention how he even got here, dude. So Carlos Diaz, he was an architect. That was his day job. That was his career. Like, most of this dude's life has happened. He had kids and was an architect for a long time, and then all his kids moved out of his house. He's an empty nester now. You want to know what he started doing? Taking online acting classes. And then the Conclave has like a worldwide talent search, and they're looking for this person to play Benitez, and they pick him. And one of the big reasons that Berger explains on the commentary, like why they had to pick a dude who had never acted before, was they need that middle portion of the movie after he's introduced. They needed audiences to forget this guy. Like they needed us to not think he was important. Because if they like fucking put Mel Gibson in there, you'd be like, oh, that's the guy. If they put fucking Gail Garcia Bernal in that role, we would have been like, he's gonna pop up again. So yeah, they just needed a complete unknown.
Yeah, and I think that mostly works. At the same time, the nature of his introduction, which is he shows up late, turns out he was secretly made a cardinal by the Pope. And by the way, in real life Catholic law, the process they're talking about does exist. You can secretly make someone a cardinal.
Tanner, stop. Tanner, no! Please don't tell the audience!
In real life, from what I understand, if you secretly make someone a cardinal and then the Pope dies, they're not a cardinal anymore. That's the current Catholic law. The book, which I wanted to read the book. I haven't had time to read the book, but I really do want to read the book. The book explains that in this reality, before the Pope died, a new law was passed, making it so that even if you were made a cardinal in secret, you can still vote for the next Pope. You will remain a cardinal if you can prove that you were made a cardinal.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't explain this because
laws.
obviously the average fucking person doesn't know that's a rule in Catholicism. The average fucking person, honestly, I think the average like fucking person thinks Catholics are like wizards. And to be fair, with like the way they operate, they kind of are.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of funny stuff going on with their religion.
But like him just showing up secretly, you think, okay, he's gonna be important. I didn't think he was gonna become the cardinal. Or the Pope, rather.
Right.
But because he does disappear for a long time in the movie. Like, the only important thing is that he just keeps fucking voting for Lawrence, even though Lawrence is, like, screaming at him, I don't want to be the Pope, you bitch-ass motherfucker! Stop voting for me!
Oh, my God. You know, reading about this, I think there were 5 people who became Pope who were originally appointed in pectore. I think this has actually happened before IRL.
Oh.
Because there's been a Pope position around for a long time. I think it might have been because, like, popes can step down. You know? Like, you don't need, like, a
this
pope
has
to
happened
die.
in our lifetime. We famously had, quote-unquote, 2 popes. There was a whole Netflix movie about this.
Mm-hmm. There was one pope who was so demonic and evil in the 1000s, the 1000-aughts, who was so fucked up, like he did like orgies at the Vatican and shit. He was pope 3 times because they kicked him out a couple times. Then he came back and eventually was pope again. One time he took his own private army to Rome and was like, "Make me the pope again. Fuck you." The evil pope.
So they stopped him from being the Pope because he was blatantly corrupt and clearly defying the pact and the values that the Catholic Church represented, but they let him be Pope again anyway.
Twice.
They should make a movie about that. Wouldn't be a metaphor for anything or anything like that, I promise. Just kind of interesting. I'm not making a metaphor about the incoming administration at all.
It would be funny to have him played by Sebastian Stan and have him just be in the the makeup.
Well, you know, I think the job of the Pope is a very important one. Well, you know, I'd love to be Pope again someday, but
oh my God, an anti-Pope movie where Roy Cohn is there.
it's also it's not like a Roy Cohn stand-in. No, it is Roy Cohn. It's gonna be revealed that Roy Cohn is like a 2,000-year-old vampire.
And the only thing that can take him out is AIDS.
Well, I guess it would make sense for vampires to die of AIDS, right?
Right, yeah, it's a blood disease.
That kind of tracks, actually. I kind of dig that. Vampires are immortal unless they get AIDS.
You know, I recently watched this Tony Scott movie from the 80s called The Hunger, and that's basically the plot of The Hunger. Except you can reverse AIDS by killing the person who gave you AIDS.
We can do that in real life. That works in real life.
We have to find the first patient 0. He's out here living his best life. That's the only cure.
The first guy that got AIDS is still out there.
What if it's Magic Johnson?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty definitively not Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson got AIDS in the 90s.
One thing I looked up ASAP. I don't know how if this occurred to you or how quickly this occurred to you. I looked up what religious people had to say about this. How fast did it happen to you, Tanner?
Oh, pretty immediately I wanted to know what, like, the devout Catholic... And when it comes to Catholics, there are usually actually 2 camps. There were people that are raised Catholic. These people are usually normal. Usually, at least among our age. They're usually more normal. They're usually more open to criticism. They're usually more chill about things. Those Catholics seem to be mostly on the side of it's fine. Especially because the ones I follow, as far as I can tell, they did a very faithful job depicting Catholic tradition, what they do in these situations. The only thing a Catholic could hypothetically be offended by is the intersex Pope at the end. All right, but most normal Catholics don't care.
Yeah.
Then there are the other type of Catholics, the ones that converted to Catholicism as adults. We call these people psychopaths. One is the incoming vice president of the United States. Ooh. So, the ones who converted as adults are acting like this is Satan's hellspawn and it's the most insulting thing to happen to Christianity since the Jews crucified Jesus.
Yeah. I got some quotes. So, Bishop Robert Brownie had a funny one. You'll see this on, like, the Wikipedia page. If you are interested in a film about the Catholic Church that could have been written by the editorial board of the New York Times, this is your movie. What is it? Another funny detail. The bishop said this in a post on Twitter. So, like, that was him taking a stand against Conclave. He did it on Elon Musk's fucking website. The Catholic League of Religious and Civil Rights wrote, Conclave aims to paint the Catholic Church in the most negative light possible. And they shit on the book's author because she's, like, not religious at all. There was also this one weird kind of self-own. Father Carter Griffin spoke on Benitez's character, and he said, it is our individual and unique creation as either male or female that identifies us as man or woman, not our subjective feelings or choices. See, I thought the film explained pretty clearly what an intersex person was. So this guy is beyond dense for asserting that people born with both male and female organs are not fitting into the binary because of, like, vibes or something. What a dick!
If anything, I do actually think the ending of this movie is a fascinating exploration on gender as a social construct. Very unintentionally so. Benitez fully believes himself to be a man because he was raised as one. Everyone told him he was one. The examples he saw around him showed him he was a man.
Yep.
And as thus, the social construct he puts up is that of a man. And I'm not trying to, like, talk on that too much, because then there is some stuff about, like, male socialization that is usually a really trans-misogynistic talking point. But for such a brief thing, it actually does fascinatingly delve into gender politics in a way. It's better at gender politics than Amelia Perez. I'll fucking say that.
Oh my god, I saw the fucking clip where they're at the sex change
Penis to vagina.
I can't.
Austin, I need you to understand, that clip you saw, that's the best scene in the movie.
Holy fuck! It was like an SNL sketch from hell.
There's a fast. So here's what Amelia Perez does, right? This is the Amelia Perez rant for a minute. Here's what Amelia Perez does. The central conceit of this movie, first off, it's not just offensive to transphobic people, it's also racist against Mexicans. Because the central conceit of the movie is that it says it's trying to play a metaphor with changing your gender versus stopping being a criminal, which is a problematic metaphor to begin with, but there's maybe a lane there. There's maybe a lane there, right? The problem is that the movie ends with the transgender woman falling back into her previous life of crime, almost saying, once a criminal, always a criminal. And when you're doing that with also tying the metaphor into transgender experience.
Oh no.
See what I'm saying?
Oh no.
Zoe Saldana is good in the movie. If she wins an Oscar, that'll be fine. I will pretend she won it for Avatar.
Yeah.
But if this movie wins Best Picture, I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. This would be worse than Crash, honestly.
Oh yeah, worse than Shakespeare in Love winning Best Picture.
Well, Shakespeare in Love is at least a good movie. Should it have beat Saving Private Ryan? No. But at least it's a fine movie. Crash is a bad movie, but also, I don't know. I truly do feel like Crash's heart was in the right place. But I don't think Amelia Perez's is.
The grand difference. Whenever I remember Crash winning the Oscar, I just pretend the award actually went to Crash.
Oh yeah, the David Lynch movie. It did. In my heart, it did.
The Cronenberg movie where people fuck during car crashes. Goated.
Anyway, people better start cheering for this movie to win Best Picture, or else it's gonna be Amelia fucking Perez.
If we fucking Conclave people don't stand together, Amelia Perez wins.
Literally, Amelia Perez is Tedesco.
Yeah.
Who's the homophobic black one in this metaphor? Wicked? No, I don't think you can call Wicked the homophobic black one. I like that movie.
Yeah. So one thing that got brought up on the commentary, I posit this. I think that professors, like film professors at film school, who are tired of always just showing whiplash, should integrate this into their curriculum. This movie is actually a really great way to teach newbies about editing. One thing that Berger says on the commentary track is that during the dialogue scenes, he tried to have the camera only cut when the dynamic of the scene changes. And the shots are fairly long, so it could be easy for like entry-level film students to follow along with what's going on. And then you could do the funniest thing and be like, okay, kids, now that you're good at observing the intentionality behind cuts, we're gonna up the difficulty a little and show you a film called Bohemian Rhapsody. And
No!
just melt your fucking brains.
Bohemian Rhapsody, the funniest best editing Oscar in the history of mankind. From what I understand, that movie won best editing because everyone behind the scenes heard that the footage was a fucking mess. And the editor made the most coherent version of that movie possible.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable, considering how borderline incoherent that movie is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody like got on the Silver Globe and made it like so that like as publicly consumable as Star Trek 2009. Like they just did not have a movie there, and through just sheer fucking will and tape, this guy made the best. Bohemian Rhapsody didn't win Best Picture. He made a movie that made a lot of money.
and actor.
Yeah.
It made $900 million. It won 2 Oscars. It won Best Picture at the Golden Globes.
That's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Tanner, for the save.
Because Bryan Singer made a really awkward, I think it was like one of his last ever Instagram posts where he was like, thank you, Golden Globes. It was a weird behind the scenes photo. Probably the only one he took when he wasn't throwing a tantrum or doing drugs that day.
Man.
Dexter Fletcher directed half that movie.
Man, it is a shame that Bryan Singer had to go down like that, because he's actually attached to a really cool person. His editor is actually a really cool guy, because he likes to do this thing where he doesn't just edit the movies, but he also scores the movies. Like, every time he got to work with Bryan, he insisted on this. Like, it helped out his process or something. And from the interviews I've seen, he's actually a pretty cool and unique dude. I don't think there's other dudes who do that in Hollywood. And you know, that guy is gonna have a hard time finding work because his buddy is a chomo. Fuck. Weird guy. Tanner, are you a fan of the HBO series The Young Pope?
No, but I probably would be if I watched TV ever.
Jude Law, Diane Keaton, the Young Pope?
Yeah. Wait, I thought Jude Law was in the 2 Popes. Is he in both?
Man, maybe. I haven't seen either of these. I've literally never met anybody who has seen the Young Pope.
You know what? Jude Law. What's up with his hairline, man?
What's up with that? Do you think he's... The Young Pope, the show, it actually had a decent effect on Conclave's production. So, two things. There's a costume shop in Rome that has 90 Catholic cardinal costumes that were made for the Young Pope. And production floated the idea of just renting these. Cause this movie had a little baby $20 million budget. Smile 2 had $8 million more dollars in its budget than this Oscar drama about electing a pope. And Edward Berger actually vetoed the idea of renting these costumes because on the record, he thinks that modern day Catholic robes look shitty. And he wanted his costume person, Lizzie Crystal, to design some cooler robes. But Conclave did end up recycling one thing from the Young Pope. Take a guess what it was.
Jude Law's hairline.
Digital set extension assets.
Oh, okay.
Conclave has a shitload of CGI set extensions.
Are you telling me they didn't actually shoot this in the Vatican?
I guess not. Fuck. They can't build a full replica of the Sistine Chapel on a $20 million budget. And even the Sistine Chapel they used at the Cinecittà studio, they didn't build that. That was from a different production. They just painted it up a little bit. So they took the CG assets and they like spruced up the details in them because it's like originally for a TV show and this was a movie. So they took the young Pope assets and fucking sprinkled some salt on that shit and used them for this movie. Boom, the young Pope.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually really neat. No, it's funny. You talk about the Vatican being so secretive earlier with the, the 350-year corruption thing, yada yada. So today I beat a video game called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. You know what, Tim? You might want to put up a spoiler alert for that game because it is only a month old.
Oh.
But there is a minor plot point in the game where it's revealed that the Vatican had been collaborating with this secret society of creatures that nobody thought existed. And when the game brought that up, I went, yeah, the Vatican would do that.
Yeah.
Like it just made sense to me. It wasn't like it wasn't a fantastical element of an Indiana Jones game for the Vatican to be secretly collaborating with this ancient species. It was just no, yeah, the Vatican would do that. That makes sense. I just wanted to bring that up because that is part of the appeal of this movie. I'm gonna be honest, Austin, I didn't know they elected the Pope.
Oh.
I just thought they kind of fucking picked somebody. Like they pointed a finger and said, all right, you're the Pope now. I didn't realize that all the cardinals convened and it was an election.
Well, no, that's completely understandable because they don't. That's actually not what happens. So in real life,
what?
Yeah, in real life, here's how a papal conclave works. A lot of cardinals go out and they find everybody in like the general area of the Vatican City named Giuseppe. They take them back to the Vatican, and then they put a series of objects in front of each Giuseppe one at a time. And
this is how they pick the Buddha. This is how they pick the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, they have a vote. What about it?
You know what I found? Speaking of the Dalai Lama, did you hear that thing that apparently China's solution to the Dalai Lama problem is they released a memo saying that reincarnation's illegal?
I love that. Everyone who died before 2023, they get to come back, but China outlawed that shit, and now there's just a bunch of people stuck in purgatory.
I just fucking love China being like, we released a memo today. No more reincarnation. We fixed the Dalai Lama problem. What?
How funny would it be? What movies even feature reincarnation? What about that dog movie? Isn't there a movie where a dog keeps reincarnating as another dog to keep
Life of a Dog or some shit? Hold on.
What if that shit has to be banned in China now because fucking reincarnation's illegal and they don't want pro-reincarnation films out in circulation? They gotta ban the Secret Life of a Dog.
It's called A Dog's Purpose.
Hey, wait, isn't that the one
that
where...
shit made $205 million worldwide?
Wait, isn't that the movie where the big controversy happened because they almost drowned a golden retriever or something? Is
it? Hold on, I'm trying to find out if The Dog's Purpose came out in China.
Oh, man. I'm trying not to be Nick Mullen right now. I'm trying
Came out in Hong Kong.
I'm trying so hard not to be.
Wait, it did come out in China!
Boom, baby!
It made $88 million in China!
The Chinese love reincarnation.
That's gross.
They fucking love reincarnation. You can't take it away from them.
Wait, hold on a minute. This shit made more in China than it made in North America.
How do we feel about Stanley Tucci in this picture?
I just fucking love, I love him. He's great. He's very... How is Stanley Tucci not gay? I'm just putting that out there. He has big gay vibes, doesn't he?
We could get a 2-for-1 if he's secretly dating Baz Luhrmann.
Hell yeah. But yeah, everyone's like, wow, Baz Luhrmann's straight. No, Baz Luhrmann has a beard.
Oh yeah.
With Stanley Tucci, I thought he was great. I do love how he keeps being like, oh, but I don't want to be the Pope. But he kind of does want to be the Pope, doesn't he? I think Cardinal Lawrence is the only guy I fully believe when he says, I don't want to be the Pope.
Oh,
and that's because he was trying to quit.
Yeah, main guy. Ray Fiennes' his character.
Ray Fiennes, I believe he doesn't want to be the Pope when he says he doesn't want to be the Pope.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He wanted out. He was having serious doubts. Yeah, I don't know if Catholic Hillary Clinton, like he kind of had me upset at certain points in the movie. Because it was kind of like Shinji in End of Evangelion. It was like, come on, do the thing. Do the fucking thing. Become more electorally viable, you motherfucker. But no, he had to dig his heels in. You know what? If you want to make a big stink about how progressive you are, maybe do it after the Conclave. Maybe just fucking wait a second.
But like, it's not like, here's the thing. You don't have to worry about re-election.
You're the Pope! No, he has to be like, no, I stand for everything Tedesco does it. He has to be a little bastard and jeopardize. Like, when they started doing votes and he wasn't the front runner, I was like, yeah, fuck you. Fucking idiot. You don't know the first thing about running a campaign.
The Black Pope almost wins, right? But the
Adeyemi.
Black Pope is arguably like only slightly less conservative than Tedesco. Like, apparently just horribly homophobic and is going to roll back any and all progress the Catholic Church has made with the LGBTQ community. I swear to God, Stanley Tucci's character basically says, well, at least we'll have the first Black Pope. Like, that's the most fucking lib bullshit I've heard in my life. Yeah, he's going to be horrible. He's going to roll back all the progress he made, but hey, he's black.
Yep. Yeah, I like that they covered that, because that is a thing we will have to watch out for in oncoming elections. Like, a lot of people say that, like, the first, female president is gonna be a Republican. Like, there's...
No, it's just like Cumtown says. It's gonna be a black woman who's a Republican.
Yep. Yeah, it's, it felt like a really modern, like, contemporary thing to include, is somebody who does qualify as, like, you know, a minority group. It would be good for representation, but they have just, like, wicked regressive policies. Like, they basically just fucking, you know, bait and switch kind of thing. About Stanley Tucci, though, here's a fun fact that Berger admitted on the commentary. Near the end of filming, Tanner, Stanley Tucci and Edward Berger simultaneously started having doubts about Tucci's performance. Like they both went to each other and started fucking panicking, dude. They were like, oh god, Stanley didn't act hard enough in this, and he's the second biggest character in the film, oh fuck! Berger claims that this doubt was, like, kind of vanished once they fully went into post. He claims that, like, the complexity behind Stanley Tucci's eyes only became visible in the editing station. So that was a fucking terrifying moment really late into production.
Sorry, I do love the idea. Imagine being an actor and your director comes to you and he's like, dude, I think you're fucking it up. What the hell? Like, you're sucking it up. This is shit. What the fuck, man? You're gonna ruin the movie.
And the guy is like, dude, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I think I'm doing horrible.
I suck, bro.
I'm glad it's not just me.
So, one tip that made Berger feel better is he got a tip from somebody else in the industry that apparently, Chris Nolan felt the same way when he worked with Al Pacino on Insomnia. Like they both went up to each other really late in the show and were like...
That's very understandable for Insomnia. Sorry, just putting that out there. I understand why Nolan felt that way.
In that movie's case, they might have been right. But I've never heard of that in, like, a movie where just both, like really late in the game, both the actor and director are just like, dude, I think you fucked this up. Like...
It's not just that. I've heard about actors being like, oh, I don't think I'm doing it great. I think I fucked it. That's actually kind of imposter syndrome's really common with a lot of these actors.
Oh, yeah.
I can't fucking believe the director would publicly admit he thought that. That's fucking insane. That sounds fucking insane. You sound fucking deranged, Edward Berger. I'm sorry, Edward Berger.
Good work.
That's crazy. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. Tucci, Oscar-nominated actor. You're sucking it up, man. What the fuck? This is shit. This is bullshit. We're taking back your paycheck. That money's mine now. Thank you. We're adding it to my director's fee.
Sorry, I was
You're getting no points on the back end. What back end points? This movie made like $60 million worldwide.
Hey, it tripled its budget, which by 2024 standards, this might as well be the #1 grossing. You know what I mean?
But if this movie came out in 2008, it would have made like $350 million worldwide.
Hey, did this movie make more or less than Joker Folie à Deux?
Oh, I probably made less, but it's probably close.
I gotta know the figure. Ladies
I'm looking up Joker Folie à Deux. All right, so Conclave made $60 million worldwide, while Joker 2 made $206 million worldwide.
Wow, Joker 2 made a lot more than I remember.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's
against the
the first
$200
movie
million
made
budget.
and also the first movie made $1 billion.
Yeah. Joker? Why I hardly know her.
Yeah, basically.
Fuck, I'm all out of Conclave facts. That was I watched the commentary, I watched the bonus features. It's a pretty cut and dry movie. There wasn't too much like for trivia on this one that I could dig up.
Pope Innocent, at the end of the movie, takes on the name Innocent, which I'm gonna be honest, didn't realize until now. That's why there's so many Pope X the 13th or whatever. Didn't realize you took on a new name when you became Pope. Feel like I should have probably put that one together myself. I just never put that much thought into it. But
it was about choosing the name. Like the Roman numerals get added afterward. The name is the big part. Because I think Innocent is like a reformist guy. Most of the Pope Innocents. Right?
Most Pope Innocents have been known for reformist policies and anti-corruption policies. If assuming, because here's the thing, there's an implication that the Pope that dies is Pope Francis, mostly because Pope Francis famously doesn't live in the papal apartment. He lives somewhere else. He treats the apartment like an office. The Pope in this movie, from what I understand, died not in the apartment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there's an implication there that it is in fact Pope Francis.
Nice.
But if Pope Innocent, so assuming it's the same universe as our world, this would be Pope Innocent the 14th. And he'd be the first Pope Innocent since 1724.
Honestly, that makes sense, though. I feel like we've all lost our innocence since the 1700s. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so we're on Pope Francis. Who was the Pope before Francis? The one that resigned? Was it John?
Don't ask me to know popes. I don't know shit about popes. That wasn't
I'm
like
looking up-
research for this.
I'm looking up Pope. What the fuck, man? I'm looking up Pope Wikipedia.
I like the idea of a Wikipedia all about popes. Popepedia.
Yeah, it's called
Wikipopia.
Catholic. It's called Catholicpedia. All right, the last Pope was Pope
Ew.
Benedict. Okay, the last Pope was Pope Benedict. The Pope before that was Pope John Paul II. Benedict was Pope Benedict the 16th.
Pope Long John
And-
Silver.
He is the most recent Pope to have resigned. He was only Pope for 8 years.
Also, shout out to this movie for bringing up Nazi Pope and the CSA stuff. Like, this movie really self-aware Catholics. I hope they're that self-aware in real life.
Yeah, a lot of the American ones that are around our age typically are. Austin, what are your final thoughts on Conclave?
I am still laughing my ass off thinking about all the grandparents and all the religious people who are gonna go out and watch this because it's rated PG, only to find out it's a movie where a hermaphrodite becomes the Pope. Well played, Berger! You have my fucking respect! Good movie. 8 out of 5. 8.5 out of 10.
Hell yeah. All right. Sorry, I just double checked this. Pope Benedict the 16th was the first Pope to resign since Pope Gregory the 13th, who was the first Pope to resign since 1415.
Pope facts.
However, Pope Celestine V in 1294 was the last Pope to actually resign of his own volition. Apparently, Gregory was forced.
Dude, I thought of a better one than Star Wars Episode 4, A New Pope.
What do you got?
Pope Fiction.
Woo!
I did it! I came up with the second one!
My final thoughts on Conclave is that, even though Cardinal Benedict became Pope Innocent the 14th, even though the Conclave was over and they elected a new Pope, here's how Bernie Sanders can still win the 2016 Democratic primary.
Any day now.
Any day now, baby. But the movie's great. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who else can still win the 2016 Democratic primary?
Who?
You! The person watching / listening to this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Leave us a review. It boosts us in the algorithm or something. And if you are listening, how about you mosey on down over to our Patreon, where the $5 tier gets you access to commentary tracks. Just yesterday, I released the one we did on 12 Angry Men. We're probably recording one for Godzilla later this week, so that should be fun. So $5 tier gets you access to those commentary tracks and all the other ones we released. $10 tier gets you a shout out. So shout out to our only $10 tier patron, my mom, Tanya Kraft. Thank you so much for trying to make this an enterprise where I don't lose money every month. I'm breaking even. Thank you. And if you are watching on YouTube, thank you oh so very much for watching. We really appreciate it. How about you mosey on down over to the comment section below and let me know, what did you think of Conclave? What did you think of the performances? What did you think of the script? Is Ralph Fiennes maybe going to win Best Actor? How much does Emilia Perez suck? And finally, what's your favorite Pope? Comment below and let me know. And while you're down there, hit the like button so we know how much you like us. Hit the subscribe button so we know how much you love us. And hit the bell icon to know exactly when we upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!
Just slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl.